My name is Joseph LaVecchia, and this is my sound design demo using the Wwise adventure game. I'll be showcasing some of the new sounds and explaining how they were designed and implemented. I chose to start in the village and then make my way to the woodlands area. Once I decided on the area, I played the game while connected to the profilers in Wwise. This allowed me to see which events were being called by the game and which sounds I would end up replacing. After stopping the capture, I saved the log as a text file, converted it to CSV, and created a pivot table from the data. This allowed me to create an asset list and keep a log of what exactly I would have to do. I created some of my own recordings using the Zoom H4n device, my regular studio mic, and some sounds from sample libraries. I composed the musical effects in Sibelius, and I cleaned and designed all of the sounds in Pro Tools. The first important thing to do was play through a bit of the game to get a feel for its style. In no time at all, one is able to see that the game is fantastical and full of charm. I decided that I would want to design some of the sounds to have musical elements to play off the aesthetic of the game and add character to the items, and by proxy the world as a whole. The kingdom is even named Allegro, so that gave me even more confidence in my decision.
Can you help me save Allegro Kingdom?
There are many sounds associated with the main character, including but not limited to footsteps, vocal interjections, and weapon swings. I checked my asset list after using the profiler to confirm the surfaces for which I'd have to replace the footstep sounds. They ended up being the grass, dirt, and stone footsteps. For the grass, I used a plastic bag on a bed of leaves. For the stone, I used concrete. And for the dirt, I used some samples. It was very important that I didn't record her voice myself, so I had one of my sisters provide the voice acting for some of her dialogue-based events. These included the events for light exertion, heavy exertion, and on hit. Here are a few of the events for which I composed original musical stingers. Get Weapon. The orchestration is rather triumphant, made up of mostly brass and percussion. The stinger juxtaposes two major triads of tritone apart, which gives it a bit more of a fantastical feel. The melodic line ascends just like the character thrusts her new weapon upwards. Coin Drop. I wanted this to sound bright and clear, so I used two groups of major seconds performed on the vibratone and music box. Since the coins drop, so did the descending dyads. Coin Pickup. Like the coin drop, this is made up of mostly bright and clear timbres, utilizing a major second in the middle as well. The effects are performed on the vibratone again, but this time layered with the glockenspiel, celesta, and piano. Since the coins are picked up, I use an ascending line here too. It's worth mentioning that at times, the coin drop and coin pickup can play simultaneously or near simultaneously, and should therefore sound good when played together. I kept this in mind when deciding how I wanted to create the sound. Played together, they create this chord, outlining a clear and bright Lydian sound while using several groups of major seconds. Evil Essence. As the name implies, the essence is evil. I created a short stinger utilizing the diminished scale, outlining a diminished 7th chord, and using several melodic half steps. It plays quickly so one can hear the dissonant minor 9th interval between the bottom and top. The instruments are banjo, sitar, and a kalimba with some echo. And Quest Complete. This is a tiny fanfare made up of a simple major chord on a brass sound.
How strange. We need to act immediately.
The sword sound was created by layering the thud of the impact with metallic sounds. The thud was created by using punch samples, and the metallic sounds were made with several different items such as knives on sharpeners, keys, and even lemon crushers. The barrels and crates were fun to create because of how many layers they had. I was able to record a hammer hitting a plank as well as the sound of cardboard boxes being thrown around. I layered these with the sound of my plastic recycling bin being knocked around with a hammer, and even with the sounds of porcelain tiles being smashed. Alongside the musical elements, I also wanted to incorporate some fun vocal performances to add to the charm of the game. I had my sister provide voices for the female protagonist, but I voiced the evil spit plant myself. This enemy originally utilized some frightening screams and such, and I decided to take the voice acting in a bit more of a lighthearted direction, similar to what might be heard in a more kid-friendly game. The evil spit plant is a stationary enemy that spits blasts of poison at the protagonist. The events tied to this monster are charge, shoot bullet, shoot loop, bullet impact, hurt, death, and death head fall. I used the whoosh sound on the brief charge up that happens before the shot, and I voice acted a bleh sound that I thought would fit the character of the enemy and the game. The shoot sound is made up of a spellcasting sample and a fruit squelch. The looping sound of the bullet flying through the air is actually the sound of a coin spinning on a table. It's also attenuated since the bullet itself is a traveling emitter. I wanted the hurt event to sound a bit like a tree being chopped down, so I layered the sword impact sounds with the sound of a knife slashing through plant matter and a knife dragging through cardboard. The plant also has hurt dialogue voiced by myself. When the plant is defeated, it triggers another random container that plays death vocalizations. I tried to keep it lighthearted and almost silly. When the plant's head hits the ground, it plays the impact sound as well as a fart sound and a squelch that I created by recording an egg breaking and dropping into liquid. Lastly, I wanted to add some daytime and nighttime elements to the woodlands to give some life to the area. The daytime features some birds, frogs, and twig snaps. The twig container also has a crow and some goats to add some extra variety. The day and night blend into each other by reading the time of day from the game, and the daytime effects slowly transition to the crickets, owls, and wolves of the nighttime. Thank you so much for watching.